So in today's client spotlight, I am joined by the amazing Sarah Hunt, who is a yoga teacher, a speaker, and a corporate wellness specialist. So thank you so much, Sarah, for joining me today. So before we kind of dive in, could you tell us a little bit about what you do, who you are and what you do?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me, Helen. I moved to the UK. You can tell I'm not from here. I moved to the UK from Canada about 12 years ago, and I was a yoga teacher when I arrived. So I have been doing yoga for now a little over 12 years, and I did that for a while. And then when I started to find my voice and get more confident speaking, it made me want to move more into doing speaking along the whole well-being approach, not just yoga, moving your body, but talking as well, because a lot of people are reluctant to come to yoga classes. And I naturally started getting into more corporate yoga. I've always wanted to be in the corporate world, but I never wanted to sit at desks for long periods of time. So this is my way. I'm suddenly now in it. And I really, when I'm there, I get to see people sitting at desks for long periods of time again, cubicleville, all that stuff. And everyone just looks a bit not that happy. So I go in, and rather than just doing yoga classes with them like I used to, now I go in and I do talks. I do chair yoga, which is more accessible, lunch and learns, but also keynote speaking now.
Yes. So you've got a whole wealth of experience in this area. And see, I've known you for quite some time now. But when we started, before we started working together, where were you at in terms of kind of this focus in your business?
Yeah. Well, I had a calling to be a speaker about 2019. I just thought this is really exciting. Like people would say to me after the yoga class, it's what you say at the beginning and the end when our eyes are closed that really hit me. And I thought, well, this is a good way to do it. But if people aren't coming to yoga, how do I get to them? And I thought speaking. And it was a world that it was completely unknown to me. So I wrote up a few of the key things I wanted to say to people. And I tried it a few times, and it just felt a bit like a presentation. And then I'm trying to think how I met you. I think you maybe popped up on LinkedIn, or maybe, I think it was LinkedIn. And we had a call, and you helped me to discover that if you don't have a specific formula, it will just sound like a presentation and it might not captivate people as much. So we started to work together, and it was like constant light bulb moments. And you helped me realize that there's more of a formula and there's a structure to every talk to keep people engaged.
And I think one thing I loved about working with you was one of the things that I always make sure when I'm working with clients is that core story and core message that really encompasses who you are and sets you apart from other people. And your story and your approach, I knew was really intriguing. Could you share a little bit about how we, what we worked on there?
Yeah. So I did an in-person event with you, as in like a meeting with you. I remember I'm from London, and I came down to near Hove, near Brighton, where you're from, and we sat together for the whole day. And the bit that was my core story, I quickly passed over, and you said, no, wait. So as I said, I've been a yoga teacher for over a decade, but I felt like I had two sides to me. I had this on the mat, Sarah, and off the yoga mat, Sarah. And the other side of me still likes it, having pizza, having wine, going out dancing. But I felt guilty, that I was going into yoga class, and, there's a stereotype, you don't drink coffee, you're a vegan, all these things. And I thought, well, I guess I don't really fit into being a yoga teacher. And you said, no, this is it. Because then what I did eventually in about 2014, I created something called Disco Yoga, which is another brand I have. And that is saying, it's okay to still like dancing and any type of food and any type of anything, but still be able to do yoga. So that's something I do with a live DJ, and it's done at festivals, corporate events, and with glitter and cat suits, and it brings the sparkle into yoga. And that was my core story that you made me realize. And now, since I've done the keynote that you helped me with, that's always the part that people go, thank goodness. Because if you were just, a typical yoga teacher standing at the front of the class, maybe chanting or lighting incense, I would run. So I think it makes it more relatable to people. And that is the core story, finding joy in the everyday and using the things that light you up to bring to other people.
Yeah, so we kind of used your story, and then we developed that into the core message of the keynote talk. And as you just mentioned there, it's that message about how to find joy in the, I always get it wrong, what did you say, the
marvelously mundane middle.
The marvelously mundane middle. And I think that's really important, because a lot of people can look at their skill on a certain level. So for example, yoga, for you, wellness yoga, but there's always so much more to it than that. And when you're developing a talk, there's going to be that message that's going to be inspiring. And when we were working on it, I remember, we kept on coming back to that message. And yes, your keynote has 3 distinct parts to it that we created through the structure, but that message is threaded through the whole way. And then, of course, you're delivering that with your personality and your approach, which again makes it really, really unique as well. So you've actually delivered the keynote, haven't you?
Yes, I manifested it. I kept thinking somebody's going to call me, and my target market is not people who know yoga or wellness very well. It's people who are, on the opposite side of that. And around Mental Health Week or Day last October, a company called me, and because I could have the keynote ready to go, but I'm not good at getting it out there. The company called me about 2 weeks before, and they said, "We're stuck. We need a wellness element to our event." And they called me, and I said, "Okay." I'll often say, how much do I have to turn the dial up or down in terms of wellness? And I said, "We're giving it to you. You're the expert." And so I did it. I talked to the AV team. In my keynote, there's music, there's movement. I get the people to find joy through moving their body, through getting out of stuck habits, through deepening their breath, for switching their mindset around. And it was kind of exactly like how I imagined. You starts first in your mind, and then it happens in real life with everything, right? And so when I finished it, it was amazing. People were standing up and clapping, and I had a big queue of people to talk to me after, and it was all good of you. I remember leaving you a message on the way home going, "Helen, I did it," with a little mini bottle of champagne.
Yeah. Celebration for sure. Yeah, what a fantastic experience. And I know that we've got some footage of that as well. So what's next for you then, Sarah? What are you focusing on? What are you hoping for? What's happening?
Good question. It's good to think about it, because if not, the mundane kicks in and you just take what's expected. So yesterday, when this was recording, it was summer solstice yesterday, and I always think those things are big beginnings. And today I woke up, and when I was navigating my way through London, I just had a different sense of energy. I could feel something different. I thought, I've got to go after what I want to do. And I really want to get into more of the events world, like rather than just going into a corporate office, because people are still kind of half looking at, when I do lunch and learns, and I can't do that kind of keynote full on, because the AV team isn't there, the lights aren't there, all that kind of stuff, and it is more of a production. So I really want to the other day I was at the Excel Center just walking by it, and I went in, and whenever you see people with lanyards, I really feel that energy of conferences, and I love it. And because everybody's away from their normal life, so they're a bit more able to kind of tap into a different level of something, like, oh, that's interesting, when normally if they're at their desk, they're in that mundane middle. So ideally I would like to do a keynote every day at a conference, whether it's in London or around the UK, around the world, because it's great having that audience when they're away from their lives and on their seats staring at you. Like, you've been sitting all day staring at screens, move your body, shake your body, listen to this music, and just see how different you feel.
That sounds like a great plan. I'm just thinking of, there's just so many more happening now, especially with the festival type vibe, like it's looking at like taking people completely out of corporate, or creating events for business people that it is more of a wellness place. So it's a festival, there's fun, and your keynotes be perfect in those places. We'll talk about that as well, because I've got a few that pop into mind. So if anybody's watching this and they think, oh, that sounds really cool, I would love Sarah to come in and deliver that keynote in my business or at my event, how can they find out more about you?
You can go to my website, sarahhuntyoga.com. It's SARAHHUNT yoga.com. I'm on Instagram as that same tagline as well. And if anybody wants disco yoga as well, it's discoyoga.uk, both Instagram and website.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Sarah. It's really, really great to speak to you.
Thank you, Ellen. Bye.